Welcome back, Smart RVers, to another Fast Tip Friday with Eric Stark, the host of the Smart RVer podcast. And today we're going to be talking about rear observation systems. And because Furrion is such a widely known brand, we're going to be using that as our system of choice. Now today, a backup camera is called a rear observation system. Yesterday, a rear observation system was called a backup camera. So we might go back and forth between the terminology, just like most people do, just so you're aware of that. Now, what can a rear observation system do for an RVer? Well, you'll be able to see directly behind your RV, which is really nice when you're going down the road or backing up. And you'll also be able to see off to the sides behind you with the 120-degree wide-angle lens that most backup cameras or observation systems come with. And you can add additional cameras to the side of the RV at the rear, like where a clearance light would go, so you can see directly to the side as well, and forward-facing or rear-facing, depending on how you put the camera, and up or down. So that's a nice option as well. And then you can also have that peace of mind knowing that when you make a lane change, you're going to the left or to the right, whatever it might be, making turns, that you can see behind you with that camera. It brings up so much more visibility that your mirror sometimes can't give you. So it's a very nice feature to give you that peace of mind. Very nice. And it also, if you're towing a towed vehicle, like let's say you have a motorhome, you're towing a Jeep behind it, you can have that camera adjusted down so it's looking right on the Jeep so you can see what's happening back there. And people like that because sometimes a towed vehicle might get a flat and the motorhome's pulling it, doesn't even realize it. You don't see the smoke, you don't see the tire blowing off until someone lets you know that it's happening. So it can alleviate a lot of extra damage when something like that starts to take place. So there's more peace of mind. And even with that being said, depending on the system you get, you could have one camera facing down at your towed vehicle and you could put another camera above it that would be facing out behind the RV, like a rear observation system would be used for in other applications. So it'd be the best of both worlds at that point. And it simplifies backing up. When you get to the RV space or the campground or your home and you're trying to back that RV in, and, even with help of your spouse or a friend, sometimes that can become a brutal argument, right? Screaming, yelling, shouting, and you might still hit something. But with a camera, if you're going to hit something, at least you see it coming because you're going to have that visibility, which is very nice. So again, more peace of mind. It makes RVing that much easier. And did you know that many RVs come today pre-wired for a backup or a rear observation system? Now, most of them are going to come pre-wired for a Furrion or a Magnadyne system. And so that's two different brands, but the wiring can be done the same. It's kind of an interchangeable thing. So if your RV came pre-wired for a Furrion system, a Magnadyne will fit right in it. And the Furrion will have something similar to this, except without the camera. It has this shark fin looking thing in the back, and it'll say that it's pre-wired. You take that one off, put this camera on. If it has that, the Furrion, the Magnadyne will fit right in the same holes, have the nice mounting gasket, very clean. So they're very interchangeable. Now, if your RV is not pre-wired for a rear observation system, it's not a big deal. Don't even overthink that one at all. So rear observation systems are very simple to install, especially the Magnadyne and the Furrion system, because they don't have any external cabling. They don't have a cable that's going to go to a extender, a range extender. So you just mount the camera, you tie into the clearance light system, and there's your power. It's powered by the 12 volts, so your clearance lights will have to be on. But without that, or without the range extender and that extra cabling, there's no extra holes on the roof, no extra wiring anywhere. So it makes for a nice, clean installation. And that's what you want, something without wires exposed everywhere. Who wants to put more holes in a roof than you actually need to? So when it's tied to the clearance lights, all you do is put the camera above or below the clearance light, or off to the side if you had to, and you run a wire from the camera to behind the clearance light. So it's real simple. And it's real clean. You might have an exposed wire for an inch or so. That's not the end of the world, or less, depending on how you can install it. Generally, you can get it pretty close out. Wire's barely even showing. And you can notch out the back of the clearance light if there isn't a notch already for that wire to go in, so the clearance light will still sit flush on the RV. So again, a nice clean installation, and it doesn't take that long. The hardest part is generally just connecting the wires, because sometimes the wires are a little hard to get out, depending on what kind of connectors they use at the factory and the size of the hole you have to pull them through. And don't ever just yank on them. Get needle nose pliers or something and try to pull them out one at a time. Be careful with that. So if your RV is not pre-wired from the factory, not a big deal. It's still a very simple do-it-yourself installation. So what makes up a rear observation system? It's really not that complex. You have a rear camera. Now this, as I said, is a Furrion system. This one adjusts real easy up and down just by twisting it. Has your antenna here. So this would mount on the back of the RV or above a door actually a door would be going that way on a passenger or the entrance door. It comes with a gasket that goes against the RV. And then you have the monitor, which this is the Furrion monitor. This is a 7-inch monitor, and they measure them diagonally like that. It's not this way, it's that way. So this is a very clean monitor. It does have an antenna. So depending on your RV and where you're at, the antenna might have to be up, down. That you play by ear. And so it's a very clean system. This looks real good on the dash. It almost looks like having a little iPad sitting on your dash. Very nice. An iPad mini, if you will. So then you have your cable that goes from the 12-volt outlet to the back of the monitor so you can connect it. There's your power source. Now the Furrion does have an extra plug on their cable. That's so you can take the camera and put it inside the cab if you were to buy a new camera or had to repair it for some reason on the Bluetooth connection or the Wi-Fi or actually the digital connection. It's not Bluetooth. It's much better than that. It has its own little system built into it. But if you had to pair it, you can actually plug it in to do that. So that makes it a little bit easier. Not a big selling point, but just makes it simpler. So the Furrion system is a really nice system. It's going to keep its connection for about 500 feet. And I've tested that here. I've done it inside our building, outside of our building, and between walls, extra walls. I think we've had 3 walls between the camera and the monitor. Still had a connection. The distance was less because the walls certainly interfere with it, but out on the open highway in your RV, that won't be a factor. Great connection. Works very nice. Beautiful view on the monitor. The camera, just nice, crisp, and clear picture that it puts on the monitor, which is good when you're traveling. You don't want it all blurred out or have problems with that. The difference between the Furrion and the Magnadyne, the quality is very close. The Furrion is a better looking system, but it's also about $350 more than the Magnadyne. So depending on how much money you want to spend, what your budget is, the variables which you have to decide, you might just decide to go with the Magnadyne, which that I'll be doing in a video, future video, going into the Magnadyne system. So it's very similar. They all work very similar, at least the better ones do. Some of the cheaper quality rear observation systems aren't nearly as good. The picture quality diminishes. You have extra cabling. The wiring is a little more clunky. So you do want to go with a good brand, one that's recommended. So there's going to be links for all this information for both systems in the description below that will take you to our website, smartrvpartcenter.com, where you can look at the systems and the prices and make an informed decision. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video, and don't forget to subscribe.